The year is 2008, and Sonic is not looking so good after the catastrophic failure which was Sonic 06, which could have killed the franchise due to the game being the worst game to release on any game consoles. Sega and Sonic team were scrambling to save their reputation and released yet another controversial game, which is Sonic Unleashed. When I say controversial, I'm only talking about the low scores that the game received from big reviewers, but I'll explain later on in the video. Fast forward 17 years later, and this game is being seen as one of, if not, the greatest Sonic game to ever release, and we haven't had anything ambitious since then. A lot of people are experiencing the game for the first time, thanks to the Recompile project, released by Scythe and the team behind the huge project, so respect to these guys. So, in this video, I wanted to do my own retrospective, as Sonic Unleashed is one of my favourite games of all time. I played this game so many times, back to back, even trying to skip school. I started off playing the SD version, but I have a lot more fond memories of the HD version. Maybe I'll make my own video on the SD port made by Dimps, but for now, strap in, grab some snacks, because we're in for a long ride. Just before we start this video, I would like to ask, if you guys do like these styles of content, please let me know and like and subscribe, as I will be making more in the future. This is my first retrospective and I put a lot of time into making this video. Let me know what you want to see next, but without further ado, let's get back into the video. Sonic Unleashed starts off with a spectacular showcase of a cinematic intro that people still argue about today. The cutscene starts off with Eggman's fleet trying to take over the world as Eggman seems to be in control. Sonic bursts through the scene with flames behind him making him look so cool. But you know how the story goes. Eggman and Sonic battle it out, but things are much different here, much more different. As Sonic already has the Chaos Emeralds and transforms into Super Sonic, beating Eggman and chasing him down as we watch the coolest cutscene of the Egg fleet getting destroyed with flames and explosions going off. Even by 2008 standards, this still holds up really well. Eggman gets stopped by Sonic, but Sonic lets his guard down and gets trapped by Eggman, draining the life out of the Chaos Emeralds, destroying the Earth and awakening the main plot of Sonic Unleashed, named Dark Gaia. While Dark Gaia is being awakened, Sonic also changes into a werewolf from the exposure of Dark Gaia. With that being said and done, Eggman sends Sonic flying back down to Earth, thus starting Sonic Unleashed. As Sonic arises from the dirt, he finds a small fellow creature who seems to have lost his memory, which Sonic decides to help due to Sonic, well, you know, that's just how he is. The sun rises, changing Sonic back to his original form. Now if you know the game by now, there are two different playstyles, daytime being the regular blue hedgehog that we all know and love, and at night he becomes a werewolf, creating two different playstyles, which critiques hated so much. Personally, in my opinion, I find that so fucking cool, having a beat 'em up brawler style of gameplay. So the people that hated it, I don't know, fuck you or something. But I'm getting off topic here, let me get back to the story. After you play the first Sonic stage, you get a nice sweet little cutscene of the little fella that we saved and give him the nickname Chip after having some ice cream from the vendor. I have no clue what his name is, and I'm on about the vendor by the way. After this cutscene finishes, we get to see the hub worlds and talk to the NPCs and explore around the town. After this, the story kinda fades into the background, which is perfect as we get to play the game as how we want while still being a linear game. But after this we move on to another day stage, then night comes about, do the first night stage, find Tails, fly to Spagonia for no reason other than to find the professor that isn't there, fly to Missouri, find the professor, then activate the first Gaia temple to restore the Chaos Emeralds. This is the point where the game kinda opens up after completing the first act of the game, which leads to multiple level gates after being opened, which allows you to play different levels for story progression while still feeling linear. The main thing that I like about this gimmick is the fact that you can choose areas that you've unlocked with the ability to change the time of day with a hold of a button. Want to play a day stage? Make sure the sun's out in that area. For night, do the same thing. You can also change it in the hub worlds, which makes it a lot easier if you want to do both day and night in the same country. The more you play, the more the map shows how much progression you made, bringing back the Earth back to normal. But with that said and done, I think it's time we move on to the gameplay.
Here we go! Woo!
Man, what can I say about this game that hasn't been said already? Like how this game stands out for a huge reason, as it's the first 3D game to use the boost formula, which newer games still use to this day. The boosting formula is the best as it has ever been in Sonic's history, as every game that came after it doesn't seem to build what Unleashed have done. Generations has only improved on the drifting, and Frontiers and Forces don't even have any drifting. This doesn't even qualify as a drift, so shut the hell up in the comment sections. Speaking of the drift, this is the first game to implement drifting, which has been used to help Sonic make sharper turns while still keeping your high speed action and flowing smoothly within the stage. But the main reason why a lot of people prefer this drifting compared to this drifting is due to the mechanic not being explained properly. See, in Generations, the drifting is a lot tighter, which can help you make sharper turns while being cleaner without bumping too much against the wall. However, with Unleashed, the drifting is a lot more loose as it's meant to feel like a car in a way, and I'll explain what I mean. Let's say you see a left turn. The player would think, I'll hold the drift button and turn left. Doing that would actually make your turn become loose and you're fighting against Sonic. But what you're supposed to do is turn right, then immediately cut left and start drifting to the left, making your turn a lot smoother. But then there's another thing that you shouldn't be doing. You shouldn't boost. I know, it sounds counterintuitive as the main premise is to go as fast as possible, but here's the thing. Boosting actually makes it harder to control, but once you learn that, the skill ceiling is in your hand and you become a demon at this game. And speaking of the boost, Sonic feels slippery when you aren't boosting, so if you're slowing down to pick up medals or extra lives, just know that you don't suck, and yes, Sonic just feels weird when you're not boosting. But seriously, I don't think anyone will be complaining about this. You wouldn't need to ever slow down for like majority of the time that you play. But moving on from that, Sonic Unleashed was the first game to implement sidestepping. This is another element that is used for Unleashed and many more future games. The sidesteps are used for various different things, such as dodging gaps, shimmying through buildings, and avoiding hazards. Majority of the level in Sonic Unleashed follow a 3-lane system, which help to fill in the voids of filler in stages to keep you on your feet at all times. Sidestepping is done by either pressing L1 or R1, which is also used on grind rails. Gone are the days from jumping from rail to rails, like in SA2, Sonic Heroes, and Sonic 06, to now using a designated button, as the rails in Sonic Unleashed are also a 3-lane system, making it a lot easier and less buggy to end up dying from something that wasn't your fault. Another thing that I haven't really spoken about is the unlockable upgrades scattered throughout the games, such as stomping, wall jumping, light speed dashes, and air boosting. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me rant about something for a second, and I'm going to be using the PlayStation controls to explain. So Sonic Team decided to change the homing attack from pressing X to then changing it to pressing square. So to make it easier to understand, I'll read what it says in game to make it easier for you guys to understand what I'm saying. If you see a lock-on cursor when you're mid-jump, press the square button for a homing attack. Now what makes this so dumb is that when you get the air boost unlocked, guess what button the air boost is?
It's the same fucking button.
So if you're using the homing attack and you realize your visual signal for the homing attack isn't there, say goodbye to your S-Frame because you need to restart as your air boost your way to death and hit restart! The only way you'll be safe from this issue is if you have nothing left in the boost gauge. But enough of that, let's talk about the QTEs in this game. Sonic Unleashed also has QTEs which can help with choosing different paths or sometimes just helping carrying on with most of the stages. Most of the time they're super easy, but near the end of the game at Eggman Land, it gets a little tougher. But you can always pause the game and take a brief moment to see what buttons to press, as the pause menu is translucent. And no, before you ask, there isn't someone ringing at your door, so calm down. Also, there's another style of the QTE that we have, which involves you, the player, pressing the button that flashes on the screen, which can help you progress through the stages with bounce pads that have random buttons for you to tap. Speaking of the stages, the stage lengths are perfect as they're long lasting, around 3 to 4 minutes at best, but if you play the game a lot, you'll be able to beat the stage under that time. Especially if you implement speedrunning techs like QSS or snaking, which is pretty simple to do. With QSS, which stands for Quick Step Slide, just hold boost, spam your side steps, whichever one feels comfortable to you, and then hold slide while you're boosting. Doing this will accelerate your speed and you'll feel how much faster you actually get. The drift variant is much easier to do, but it is slower than the first option. But what you need to do is hold your drift and wiggle your left stick to the top left and top right while still pushing forward. It won't take much practice, but it's really easy to do. But by far, the hardest trick is D speed and M speed, but those are used for full speed runs. But with that, the first half of the game has been covered, and now we have to talk about the other half of the gameplay. Well, we made it to the part that caused IGN to rate this game poorly. And what for? I think the Werehog is amazing. After all, the beat 'em up style was inspired by the likes of God of War, so I commend Sega for actually trying something new. The Werehog is fun but tedious for the length of the stages, with most of them being longer than 10 minutes. This game has an easy combat system which is just 2 buttons for attack, being square and triangle, but you can get so many moves with just those buttons alone. I mean, it's way better than what we have in Frontiers. Peak gameplay. But all jokes aside, the Werehog is a great addition to the Sonic formula, with platforming and combat that is good enough to be fun. First, let's talk about the combat. Like I was saying a moment ago about how the combat is just 2 buttons and you can do a lot of things with those 2 buttons, I'll admit the Werehog is very button mashy, but that's mainly because you don't have all the moves unlocked even after the game's finished. Starting off the game, you get your basic scratch with square and punch with triangle, and you also use circle for grabs. But one of the moves you'll need the most is aerial claw, slash and spin, which is the most useful moveset in the Werehog's arsenal for platforming, as it can make greater distances and help you make jumps that you misjudged. Just be aware that your grab won't be available after using this combo, which means you can die if you're trying to grab a ledge. But other than that, every move that you unlock with the Werehog has a purpose, like crowd control, single targets or shield break. You can even chain combos together with aerial moves if you pull off the correct button combination. What makes this even better is if you use something called the Unleash meter, which is pretty much your rage mode, making your moves a lot stronger and gives no cooldowns to moves, also making you invincible. This will help a lot against bigger enemies, as they have a lot of health when you start the game. You'll be so weak to cause any damage, so this will help out a lot. The way to unlock more moves and get stronger is with a level up mechanic like an RPG system, which requires grinding. XP is gained by killing enemies to drop yellow orbs. Bigger mini bosses give a lot more XP, which will greatly improve your build. I recommend leveling up combat, strength and life, as they'll be your main priority throughout the game, as later on during the game, the enemy's health will become stronger. You'll be fighting a range of different enemies such as Eggman's mechs, these small dog things, the regular blue enemies, the wizards,
the f***ass bees,
and the mini bosses. Most of these enemies are easy to kill, but the bees, these little shits have no collision to land hits on them, so regular hits won't even land, so you shouldn't even think about doing that. To ease your own sanity and not bang your head through the desk, just grab them and throw them, as they have no arms. Throw them at the wall or an enemy, I don't care how you do it, but then continue to attack them that way. You can finish the enemies with a QTE for extra points, so if you need that sweet S rank, use a QTE on them. Yep, they're also here as well. The QTE for the Werehog works the same way as it does with the launch pads in the day stages. Press the button you see that flashes onto the screen. But here's the thing, the higher the health the enemy has, the faster the QTE will be, but the lower the HP, the slower the QTE will become. However, what I like to do, I just throw the enemies out the world. Platforming is done really well for the Werehog, as you have to do a lot of climbing, precise jumps and stretching your arms to greater length. Oh yeah, did I mention that Sonic can stretch his arms? Anyways, the platform is fun as it's slower and you can find a lot of shortcuts, like, did you know in Windmill Isle Act 1, you can skip the need to flick the lever to get onto the platform? Or in Rooftop Run Act 1, you can skip the small section on the clock tower by using precise jumps and ledge grabs. The slower nature of the game can help with finding collectibles such as Sun and Moon medals or random other items. The night stages has the most of these, so if you don't like the night stages, I suggest you go searching for them during your first playthrough, as you'll need to find them to progress through the game. But more on that later on. Some stages have a unique style of platforming, like using the enemies to swing off to higher paths or use enemies to throw out targets to lower platform. Stages will also include tight walks to make it across and you can fall off, but luckily you can grab the edges. It's all fun and games until you get to Skyscraper Scamper. Give the controller to a criminal and tell them to finish the stage without dying and they'll be depressed for their whole life. Second round of the video real quick. Whose idea was it to have this stage be this weird? Not only is the depth perception for the Werehog straight cheeks, but having the tight walk with spikes on each side with a janky ass camera is even worse. Plus, the ground that we walk on falls. Why Sega? I played this game for so many years and even I hate this stage so much, but I love the Werehog. I died so many times on this part, not once, not twice, oh my, not thrice, but 4 times. Sonic, if you don't f***ing do this, I swear to God, I'm gonna f***ing rip your f***ing head off with you f***ing little I think my reaction is justifiable. Also, something so funny that people complain about with this stage is when you're fighting the mini-boss, we can get knocked back by the attack and then the game will tell us to jump to get back up. But usually, if you try to get back up, you just get knocked over again by the shockwave. But the funny thing is, staying down doesn't affect you from the shockwave. So by all means, stay down after the shockwave passes you, then get up and get back into the fight. The Werehog has puzzle sections throughout his stages, with gems that need to be picked up and placed onto their pedestals to open doors. I couldn't find the last blue gem to open this door, so what did I do? Phase right through it. Yep, that's right, even the Werehog has game breaking glitches, but this glitch is hard to pull off as you need to be frame perfect, otherwise you'll not be able to go through, or you'll just phase through the floor straight to your death, or just get stuck in the wall. One other thing you can do with the Werehog is skip most of the stages by cutting down a lot of your time from the filler battles. A lot of the battle sequences aren't gated off, so if you wanted to, you can literally run past all the filler enemies to progress. The only time you'll have to fight is when you see a purple barrier, or if you need to flick a lever. Some of the stages can go from 14 minutes to 8 or maybe even 6, depends on how fast you take your routes. I wouldn't advise it on your first run as you'll be underpowered and short on medals. Maybe it'll be better to do on repeat runs. But now, let's get back to the story. Going back to the story of Sonic Unleashed, this story is probably one of my favourites in the series as they were able to find the perfect balance of serious and light-hearted fun. Most of the games that came before it were bashed due to the story being too dark or too serious. But continuing from Chip getting his name from the ice cream, we figure out that not only does Sonic change forms, but the people around him are also affected, like the ice cream guy talking about his ice cream being the best even if the world's ending, to then contradicting himself and not caring. We then find Tails and fly to Spagonia to find the professor to sort out this mess, but we already know what happens as he's kidnapped, which leads us to Missouri to find him and then set him free. After we do that, we learn about the Gaia manuscripts, and placing the Chaos Emeralds in the 7 Gaia temples can restore the emeralds and bring a piece of the world back to its place. The story opens up as we go back and forth checking in on the professor to give us new tasks. The story isn't bloated with too many characters, as well as the main critique of the Sonic games were the fact that, and I'm not even kidding when I say this, Sonic has too many friends. So Sonic Team decided to get rid of most of the crew and just leave in Tails and Amy. To be honest, getting rid of them wouldn't change anything in the story, but I'm glad that they're here. It makes sense as this game was supposed to be the third installment within their adventure games, but due to the story having so many ideas, Sonic Team scrapped the idea for a more well-rounded story. But back to the story. After you make it to the final Gaia temple located in Adabat, Chip is sucked into the mural of the temple and gets his memory back, revealing that he's the counterpart of Dark Gaia, and that Eggman destroying the planet brought them out their slumber way too early, which is why Dark Gaia isn't at his strongest, and Chip is losing his memory. We're told that Chip, or better known as Light Gaia, has been asleep for more than 200 million years, and every time Dark Gaia is awakened, his main objective is to protect the world, while Dark Gaia destroys it. I love this reveal as Chip expresses his love for the world that he and Sonic have been travelling in. Sonic has been the one to roam around this world endlessly, meeting all kinds of different people, visiting different cultures, while Chip has never been able to do any of that. The way these two characters contrast each other but blend in so well is what makes me love this game so much. Chip explaining to Sonic that the reason why he isn't affected by Dark Gaia's influence is such a strong trait to Sonic. Sonic is mentally too tough to be broken. Nothing will ever change him because the people that he has around him, and will never let the pain get to him. You know what? I'll shut up and let the cutscene play out.
I bet it's thanks to you. Even at night when I'm like this, I'm still myself, not like all the other people we've seen. You must have been protecting me this whole time.
I haven't done anything, Sonic. You're the reason you haven't changed at all. You're too strong to lose yourself.
I'm the reason?
Yeah, you never doubt yourself, no matter what. You never give in to the night or the darkness inside your heart. I think it's because I knew that about you. That's why I wanted you to help me. It's been so fun, getting to see the world. I've lived here since the planet began, but I didn't know a thing about it. That it's so pretty, or that food tastes so good, or that people are so nice. I'm so glad I got the chance to discover all that with you, and I'm so glad that you helped me find my memory. Sonic, I will never, ever forget you. Thank you, Sonic. Goodbye, friend.
Hey!
Whoa, what?
Where do you think you're off to all by yourself?
What? But my memory is back now, and, well, from here on out, it's my responsibility, so, I mean, there's no reason for you to come along, so I should just...
Do I need a reason to want to help out a friend?
Thanks, Sonic.
Yeah!
I love this scene so much. I'm going off script right now, but this cutscene makes the story so beautiful down to a T. Life isn't about stress to carry alone. Having a friend being there for you can do more than just stress relief, but show trust. Sonic is just that kind of friend that you need. He still wants to help Chip with his task. It just shows how well written Sonic is in this game. This couldn't have been done any better, especially with the voice acting done by Jason Griffith, who encapsulates Sonic so just even after 17 years later, he's never shown this much emotion. I mean, I guess Roger Craig Smith has showed this emotion in Sonic Frontiers, but it's not on the same level as Jason has done with this game. Chip nowadays gets a lot of hate as he's too dorky, ruins the scenes, or just kills the vibe, but to me, he's perfect. This is the first companion in the series that has a rich connection with Sonic. The bond of these two grows so strong by the end of the game that you yourself feel like you've become friends with these characters. The tone of the story was done perfectly, and it couldn't have been done this effective with the world building of Sonic Unleashed. Also, while editing this video, I've never realized this has happened in the game, so I'm just gonna show this as I was laughing for 10 minutes straight and just showing it to one of my boys on Instagram. I love this game so much more just because I realized this. I love this so much more just because of this. I love it so much more now just because of this, man. I never realized he kicks his head, bro. You can see his fucking smug ass face as well. There is so much I could say about the world of Sonic Unleashed. Let's start off with the fact that every country we visit in game has cultural significance in the real world. We have Apatos, which is based off the islands of Mykonos and Santorini in Greece. Missouri, which is based off the African country of Mali. Spagonia, which is a mix of many European countries such as Italy, France, Spain, and England.
Come on, England!
Alaska is a tricky one as it could be based on many different areas such as Greenland, Alaska, Norway, or the Russian Federation. But let's just say the Arctic region just to simplify things. Empire City is based off of New York, and Shamar is based off the Arab country of Jordan, but more specifically the city of Petra. And Adabat, which is made up of Southeast Asian countries such as Thailand, Singapore, and Cambodia. And Chunnan, which is pretty much just China. The hub worlds include shops in every country where you can buy various different foods based off their real life counterparts, such as kebabs and Apatos, but I think souvlaki or gyros would have been a better pick. Missouri has cocoa beans, which is found in Mali and many Western African countries. Spagonia has many choices like baguettes, pasta, cheese and tomatoes, but no UK dish as we have the worst cuisines. Chunnan has food including, and I'm probably gonna butcher it when I say it, bao buns and shao tao bao. I definitely butchered it. Holoska has canned salted fish, or better known as, I'm probably gonna butcher this again, surströmming. Yep, I butchered it again. Shamar including chai and curry. Also, why is gelatin in Shamar of all places? The one haram food in game is in an Islamic country. But yeah, you could argue the fact that the collagen is not from a pig but a cow. I just find it funny, but moving on. Empire City has burgers, steaks, fried chicken and tacos? Sure, I guess. And Adabat have bananas as that's where they originated from in the Southeast Asian region. And fish, which is a large influence with all their sea-based meals. I've briefly skimmed over this, but if you want to learn the deep history on the world of Sonic Unleashed, I recommend you watch this video from Mr. Needlemouse. He does a way better explanation than I could ever do, so check out his video if you want to learn the history. Big thanks to you, as genuinely you've helped me out when it comes to writing this section of the world building of Sonic Unleashed. Let's continue as Sonic Unleashed is the last game to include human NPCs in the series, which kinda upsets me as they were a huge part of the world building. Every NPC had their own little mini story going on that we could have followed. Some NPCs will give us mini challenges and making the world feel more alive, Every NPC in these hub worlds have a lot of character to them, which makes the world of Sonic Unleashed feel even more special. Is that Heihachi Mishima? Sonic Adventure and Sonic 06 had NPCs around their world, but it didn't really work. SA1 was okay with the mini storyline with the stalker and the store worker. 06? Yeah, let's not talk about that. But hey, Sonic Man! Unleashed just works really well with their NPCs as they fit perfectly with the art style, blending with a Pixar-esque anatomy. I love the fact that the names of the NPCs also have cultural significance, as many names sound like their real-life counterparts. Even the clothing holds up significance, like in Shamar, all the women have hijabs on, or the men are walking around in thobes and a takya. While Chunnan also has cultural Chinese dresses such as Chi Pao, also known as Cheongsam in Cantonese. All these aspects coming together expands an already amazing story to greater length. Even the hub worlds are fun to explore as we get two of them, the first one being a town hub. Smaller than the ones from 06 and Adventure, but it works really well for you to just soak in the atmosphere. The second one is where we can find our level gates and grab collectibles such as the medals, 1-ups, discs, art pieces, and also being able to find extra acts at the DLC stages. These hub worlds aren't anything special, but I like that we get to use this area for combo practice or the aforementioned phase through wall glitch. But enough about the hub worlds, let's talk about boss fights. Boss fights. Some people love it, some hate it. I really like these ones. No, not these ones, these ones. But first, we need to talk about the day stage ones. The first boss we get is the Egg Cauldron. Oh, shit. I guess it's time we talk about the tornado section real quick. So, the tornado sections. They're used twice in this game, which is pretty much like a quick time event simulator. First time being in the flight from Apatos to Spagonia, and the second time being in Eggman Land. The playstyle is just mashing the corresponding buttons many times just to make it through until we get to the first boss. The higher the combo, the better the rank. But after you finish this slugfest of a minigame, you get to the Egg Cauldron, which, you guessed it, you need to do the same shit and mash the buttons 5 times to do damage to the Egg Cauldron. After you do that, you can move to Spagonia, look for the professor, yada yada yada, let's move on. The first actual boss fight is against the Egg Beetle. This boss fight is boring, as you just be chasing the beetle until the pincers are open. You can either boost into the beetle or homing attack into it. Boosting is a better option as you can continue hitting him as he flails about. Messing up the attack will lock you into 2D, and you pretty much just need to dodge the bombs and missiles that Eggman throws at you. This continues until you defeat him. Yeah, it's pretty boring, but the next boss fight is a bit better, but it's not as effective. The Egg Devil Ray. This boss fight happens in Spagonia. I like this one as it's the best out of the 3. This one is similar to the Beetle, but what's different about this one is that the Devil Ray has a force field to stop Sonic from boosting into it straight away. The Egg Devil Ray also uses, well, rays to force you into sidestepping to avoid the lasers. After bonking into the boss, the force field is dropped, allowing Sonic to either homing attack or boost into it again. But here's the thing. Sorry, I'll stop. After the first attack, the force field is brought back up, which stops Sonic from doing the same chain attack that he's doing, and locks Sonic into 2D again. This is cool as the rays are used in a 2D space, as you had to jump through the gaps while the boss is shooting orange energies. I love this as having more than one option to dodge will allow you to homing attack the force field, creating an opening to land extra damage, and then begin the barrage of chain attacks until the boss is finished. But then we have the third boss, which is the Egg Lancer. Oh, what the fuck, Sega? Same design, just reskin? Ah, you're just spoiling us. This is a harder version of the Egg Beetle. Well, kinda. The first phase starts off running and dodging the lasers thrown onto the ground as Sonic chases the boss onto the wall with lasers coming out the wall, transitioning into 2D where you need to dodge more lasers that will close in on you as you boost to land damage and dodge more lasers. Crazy, I know. But we need to finish the phase with a QTE to land a blow to repeat the cycle. See, as a kid, this was annoying. You barely have any boost to manage, so your management needs to be perfect, otherwise you're screwed. The second phase is literally the same thing, so no point in me explaining what to do. Now, let's just move on to the better part, which is the night variants. Man, This is where the fun begins. Where to start? Let's start with the first boss, which is the Dark Gaia Phoenix. This fight is so good, you just need to wait for the bird to land. Trying to attack the bird would only damage you as it's covered in flames, so the only way to attack it is by throwing a water barrel to make the boss vulnerable and ready to attack. After landing a barrage of attacks, you notice that you could do a quick time event that looks so cinematic as Sonic beats the shit out of the bird, finishing the cinematic as he aura farms on him. Doing this 2 more times will cause the boss to be defeated and bring him or her back to their conscious state. This fight is probably my favourite out of the whole boss fights that we have, but I can't say the same thing for the second fight. The second fight by far is the most annoying, and it's against the Dark Mori. I love and hate this boss. I love this boss. As you start fighting, you realise that there's a barrier to get to the platform, but how do you get there, you ask? These enemies that come out the wall, you can attack them as they come out, but they have regular health like any other enemies. However, if you pick up the ice canisters that are located here, picking up these ice canisters and throwing them at them will kill them in one attack, which is faster to do so. After that, you're able to hop onto the platform and attack the main boss. You'll need to use the ice canisters on the boss as he has 3 spots to attack: the chest, the back and the top of the head. The first 2 are easy to hit, but for some reason every time I play this boss fight, I can never get to his head. Let me explain real quick. The way you're supposed to attack his head is when he drops and spins around, you need to throw the ice canister as he plops onto the floor. That way, when he does do the attack, you'll be able to freeze him, but sometimes he wouldn't do that and you just need to wait and wait and wait, only for him to shoot ice shards and kick you off the platform, bringing the barriers back up. See, this is why I say I love and hate this boss. If you do manage to hit his head and finish him off, that's it. No cinematic cutscene or anything. But I wish I could say the same thing for the third boss. You just had to ruin it, didn't you, Dark Guardian? By far the weakest boss in the lineup. I hate this boss so much. You do nothing but push a box just to get the Dark Guardian to take a knee and then do a cinematic QTE. At least the QTE is cool, but that's literally it. There's nothing else to it. They could have had us actually punch the dude up for a bit, but no, it's literally just pushing a box. Literally, I don't know what to say as I've literally been sitting here for 20 minutes trying to think about what to write for this part of the script, but we'll move on. I think we have all the boss fights covered. No, don't worry, we'll get to you. But before we get to that, we need to talk about the medal collecting. Well, now this is also the reason why people hate this game. And to those I say, hey, I understand. This game can be annoying at sometimes when it comes to the medal hunting. For a first playthrough, people will struggle a lot. I've seen people drop this game due to the medal requirements being so high, and you know what, fair enough. This can be seen in Jungle Joyride Day, as you need 120 sun medals, and holy fuck, who thought this was a good idea, having this many medals needed, especially because the game doesn't say anywhere that you need to collect these medals. It would have been nice to hear Chip say something along the lines of, collecting Sun and Moon medals will be required for progression, Sonic, so make sure you collect these along the way, or anything along those lines. But on with the medal collecting. Most of the medals will be found in front of you when it comes to the day stage. Yeah, some of the spots are outrageous, like this one in Jungle Joyride, or the one that's off to the side in Apatows. But I would say to search the night stages as they have the most of them. You have 10 sun medals in each night stages, so they will be a lot better to collect. The day stages won't have as much, but you will be able to find the moon medals here. But you can't forget about the ones in the hub worlds, or the DLC stages. Most of the DLC stages will have about 2 or so medals. Oh, and if you're wondering why I haven't spoken about the DLC stages, this is why. Oh my god. Oh, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna kill. Yo, just get under the fire! Now you see why I didn't want to record DLC stuff. But moving on. The night stages will be the best to grab all the medals. Make sure to grab them during your first run. That way you wouldn't need to backtrack and collect more if you're low. Also, quick tip, if you want a lot of XP, make sure you use Act 1-2 of the night stage of Apatows to grab your levels. You get 36 levels of XP just from that one stage. But back to the hub worlds. Every hub world has 2 sun and moon medals, with Spagonia and Shamar being an exception, as they have 4 each. You can't forget about the extra 2 that they give in the second hub world. Also, you can earn medals from Professor Pickle by giving him souvenirs from the shops based around the towns. The day stages need 120 sun medals, which is crazy enough already. And what's even more crazy is that you don't need to go higher than level 6 for the night stages, while you do need to go higher for the day stages. It just kills the pacing. But on a brighter note, it's not that hard to grab these medals, as majority of them are given to you for free just by exploring. Some of these are outrageous, like the ones that I showed you in Jungle Joyride, but other than that, I think it's fine. But I've said enough what I need to say about this. Now on to...
Here we go!
Everyone's a gangster until you get to Eggman Land. Yep, we finally made it to the toughest and longest stage of the series. This stage, where to begin? How about we start off with the tornado stage? Nah, screw that, we all know it's the same as the first one. Eggman Land is the only stage in the game that has both day and night segments in the same level, thus making it the longest stage. I'm going to break down the stage due to the sheer length, so strap in as we start off as a hedgehog, as we blast through egg robos to QTE, then grinding down with 3 different approaches, with the drop down below for a 4th option. Let's start off with the bottom section, which takes us down to enemies to remove the lasers as we platform between the yellow disappearing floorings like the ones we see here. Following this route will give us 2 options of enemies to homing attack, but let's go left as they both lead the same way up to a conveyor belt, slowing down your speed. The best way to get around is by jumping and air boosting to keep up the speed. After getting off, we need to destroy more egg robos and get onto another conveyor belt, taking us to a row of yellow platforms as we need to time our run to make it across. The springs take you to the first hourglass where we can switch to the werehog, but hold on, we have other routes to talk about, so let's talk about the next one. The second route is on the left grind rail. Taking it will put you on a floating platform as you need to meticulously make your way around, either by jumping or using the homing attack on the electric robots and following up the platform with a light speed dash to make it across. Finishing this route will take you back onto the grind rail, straight through the sign of Eggman Land and in front of the hourglass. Third route is the middle rail, which will shoot you up through the red rings as you rush down through the signs on the same grind rail as the left route. Final one is the rail on the right. This route has 2 options. After homing attacking 2 enemies, you can either drop down onto the same rail or boost over to get to the rail behind it. Sticking to the rail in front will take you to the same platform as the route going left, but boosting over the rail will take you directly through and straight to the hourglass. The right route is always the fastest, just make sure to boost after you kill the enemies. But now we can finally move on to the first switch of the level. The werehog segment in this stage is so fun but really difficult. The enemy's health bar is so much higher than any previous stage that your attacks feel spongy and weak. The platforming is so much more difficult as well. You'll notice it right away as the first batch of enemies that we encounter seem to take ages to beat. You can run past them, but where's the fun in that? After beating the enemies and swinging over to the next platform and beating up 2 more egg fighters, we'll have to jump down into another horde of enemies as we beat them and building up our unleash meter. Make sure you save your unleash meter for the next fight. Flicking the lever allows these cups to move as we can hold onto it to traverse, allowing us to get to the next spot. You can also take a shortcut here by parkouring on the teacups without flicking the lever. After moving over to the next space, you'll see a bunch of egg fighters and a gated lever. This is where you should use your unleash meter as enemies will keep spawning. If your strength isn't higher than level 5, be prepared to struggle. After this constant battle, you'll lower the lasers, allowing you to flick the lever, watching the platform drop down to switch to another day segment. This is where the challenge really begins, as you'll need to be cautious of these walls that could push you off of 2D, making you lose a life or cause a restart. You'll need to know how to wall jump as the yellow platforms from before will phase in and out, essentially testing your time. If you know how to use your wall jumps correctly, you can take this path up here, or you can follow the platform on the bottom path, which is safer, but it's slower. Typical Sonic level design, cranked to 100. Getting up here will transition you to the next set piece as we stomp down through the boxes onto a roller coaster that goes off course. This is the same bobsled section that we had in the Holoscar. Traversing down is what will make or break your run, as the controls are so stiff. You need to dodge bombs, lasers, and make jumps. And you should run over the Eggman's mech. If you do manage to control it, we'll finish this section off, as Sonic gets off the roller coaster, boosting into more Eggman fighters as he pulls off another QuickTime event button sequence, allowing the change to the werehog. Now this is where you need to be skilled at platforming with the Werehog, as you need to walk on tight beams, having split paths or collectibles or other routes. I usually never go for any other routes as it's too risky and I just want a perfect run with S ranks. Making your way through will put you into another fight sequence with wizards trying to heal all other combatants, while you're trying to flick the lever to continue with more platforming. The next platforming segment is actually the scariest part of the stage, as one wrong jump can ruin your run, as the Werehog has no drop shadow and a janky depth perception. The platform insists on grabbing a loose ledge with flames going around it as you need to time when to go. Failing to do so will cause a ledge to fall apart. The tight walk is next, probably the worst part of this segment as it's high risk high reward. You can either go up and grab the art book, continuing to follow to make it to the next room, or you can continue with the safer path. As we continue to push forward, we need to enter another room to fight another wave of enemies to flick the lever to finish this second section of the Werehog and switch to another day segment. This section will include the same walls that push you off of 2D planes, but it's more about waiting and timing your jumps. After you make your way around, you'll need to use these to shoot your way around the spikes, as you need to time your button presses. You'll need to be quick as the pink saw will be chasing you. Getting out of there will put you into a QTE. Be quick as one mess up will result in a death or a restart. The following sequence is on the conveyor belt, as you need to speed up to the next platform as you pull off 3 QTE sequences as you climb up to dive down to the chute, dodging lasers and saws. The next part is the coolest. Instead of hitting the hourglass on the left, you can come up to the right side, wall jump to enter the pipes and get down and switch to the Werehog, which will skip a load of chunk of the level. After switching, you need to drop down to a lower level and find the lever to open the door, giving access to the chute to slide down as we need to swing off more enemies, draining their HP to continue down to another chute at the final platforming segment with poles and more enemies to swing off of. Down the chute we go once more to the final 2 rooms containing mini bosses. The first room will only have 1 of them, but the second one would have 2 of them. Use your Unleash Meter and defeat them all to complete the final stage with a fat f***ing S rank. The funny thing is, after all of this is the only stage you can die on and still get an S rank, but I never knew this as I would always restart as any Sonic fan would. But with that, Eggman Land is finally done. I just had to give this section a whole breakdown. Heck, I can even make a whole video on this stage. But without further ado, remember the other boss fight I didn't talk about? The Egg Dragoon, the best Werehog fight bar none. This is the same mech that we saw in the first cutscene. What makes this boss fight so cool is the fact that we're literally falling to the bottom of the core during the fight, and Eggman won't stop until Sonic is defeated. And the music, is so good, just take a listen. Let's begin with the actual boss fight. The fight starts off with Eggman circling around Sonic as we need to hit the green light on his chest. Eggman will throw out some of his egg fighters as he rains down bullets upon us. Once all the egg fighters are finished, we can start with a QTE as Sonic rips apart the Dragoon. After the first phase, Eggman will destroy the floor, sending him along with Sonic down to the core of the earth as they continue fighting. Even Sonic knows that Eggman has gone crazy at this point. Eggman will occasionally throw out ice balls to free Sonic, which will cause more damage if caught and hit by any of the egg fighters. Once again, we need to beat up the egg fighters and wait for Eggman to calm down and hit his green light on his mech, which will cause Sonic to do another QTE to finish this fight off. What I love about this fight is the fact that it's so short and has no bullshit compared to the Dark Guardian. And 2, the way we're falling down to the earth just sets up the final climax of the game. I won't keep you guys waiting any longer as we need to get to the Dark Gaia boss fight, setting up the finale of the game. Dark Gaia. The build up of this whole fight, it comes down to this. Dark Gaia appears coming out the core of the earth, swiping Eggman out the occasion. Chip and Sonic are defenseless as they see a behemoth of a monster looming down on them. Sonic is instantly attacked as Dark Gaia takes back the remaining Dark Gaia energy out of him, leaving Sonic weak and defenseless. The first thing Sonic says is, "Run, Chip." Sonic knows he's probably going to die, but you would never expect him to have emotion leaking out of him.
Sega, we need more of this, please.
As Dark Gaia tries to strike again, Chip uses his shield to protect Sonic as he calls forth every Gaia temple to create the Gaia Colossus as we get ready for the final battle. The ground shaking, the citizens confused, seeing their temple leave their country. Here we go! The final stretch. It's mid. Only the first phase though, but I have to talk about this, so let's begin. As we begin the first phase, we need to make our way to Dark Gaia as he throws meteors towards us. You can either dodge, block, or punch it. Punch it if you have to, as blocking it will still damage you. The next move that the Dark Gaia has in his arsenal is a beam that he builds up. You can use this turn to boost forward towards him, but before he shoots, make sure you block and move over to the side as you can't deflect it. Continue making your way through until you can attack with button prompts 3 times. As the 3 attacks are finished, Dark Gaia will grab the Colossus as we transition into Sonic, rushing to make our way to save Chip. The first boost phase is easy as you need to jump over the purple tentacles, wall run and dash to attack the eyes, which will put you into another Gaia Colossus section. This time the meteors will get faster. Some of the meteors that are thrown will include a fully blocked off wave which will need punches. Be careful as the punches will have a cooldown which can cause you to take damage. Making your way through again will allow you to do the same QTE button prompts which once again will cause Dark Gaia to grab the Colossus to charge an attack as we transition back to Sonic to save Chip again. We boost through a QTE wall jump as we rush through a loop-de-loop and finish the phase as we attack the weak spot again, which will put us into the final phase of the Gaia Colossus. One final push as meteors flies towards us, energy beams shot towards us. QTE prompts to another Sonic segment as we defeat Dark Gaia. Or so we think.
Let's go!
And so it begins. The purple mist covers the globe. The world cowers in fear as the end is near. The light instantly fades. Professor Pickle expressing the end of the world with no saving grace. There's nothing we can do now. Everything has come down to this.
What's happening? It was broad daylight a minute ago.
Dark Gaia has regained its true power. The beast is complete. It's just as the Gaia manuscripts foretold, and the world shall be plunged into the dark of night, the dark of destruction. Oh, that it should come to this. We're doomed. The planet
But you
is
know who
lost.
stays optimistic for the blue blur?
That won't happen. There's no way Sonic will let it end like this.
Amy fucking Rose. As Sonic stares down Dark Gaia who's transformed, Sonic grabs the Chaos Emerald as we enter the finale of the game, as he enters Super Sonic.
All right, Chip, time for the big finish!
We're finally at the final boss of the game. I love it so much. Let's start off with the first section as we fly towards Dark Gaia as we pick up as many rings to keep us alive. The force field will stop us from entering. That's why we have Chip to get in and get the job done for us. While Chip is occupied with Dark Gaia, our mission is to drop the force field by attacking the head of the snakes that come out the force field. The best way to damage them is by boosting, and to control yourself, just don't boost. Once the shield is down, Dark Gaia will grab the Colossus as we need to boost into his hand so he can release the grip of Chip. Dark Gaia builds up another energy beam as he blasts Chip. The only way we can get rid of this beam is by deflecting it and spamming square 60 times. Fun fact, I've never been able to do this with my fingers as I always die like in this clip. So the way how I do it is by using my nose. Yeah, I know, I'm weird, leave me alone. After we finish this button spam, Chip hits Dark Gaia with a punch, as we finish this off with a final blow by boosting into his eyes to finish the final sequence of this game. But hold on, I just need to talk about the music in this fight. Am I the only one that gets emotional when I hear this theme? It's so fucking good! The music as a first time listener must feel incredible. Like, especially because when I was a kid and I heard this for the first time, it was blowing my mind, even before hearing the main theme. But now that I heard the main lyrics, it just adds to it so much more. Just take a listen. But now it's time to wrap everything up, and we're gonna bring this to an end. As Dark Gaia has been defeated, Sonic collapses out of exhaustion as the world is finally safe from harm. The purple mists fade away. The people cheer, from Chunnan, Missouri, Spagonia, Holoska, and Shamar all celebrate to live another day. Sonic has done it. As always, Sonic has saved the world. Dark Gaia returns to his slumber, but then so does Chip. As Professor Pickle says, we cannot live without the night. We all must sleep. We all must rest. Darkness is a part of our world, just the same way as light. Chip begins to fade away as he says his final goodbyes for the last time as Chip throws Sonic back up to the surface of the earth in the same way as he landed at the start of the game. He looks around to find Chip. He doesn't find anything, nothing, no one. Just a bracelet to symbolize the adventure that they've been on. Sonic looks out to the sunrise as he takes a deep breath, realizing the adventure that he's been on, and runs off, thus ending Sonic Unleashed. And for the final section of the video, I need to talk about Unleashed Recompiled. First, let's start off with a brief history of this game. Sonic Unleashed released in 2008 with a mixed reception online. Some people loved it, majority hated it. What made it even worse was IGN and their review of this game, which caused it to be bashed to the ground. Some of it I understand, like the Werehog being included in this game, as his stages are too long, he's too slow, or the fact that the medal collecting throughout the game has to take place. Things I've already covered in this video. But by far the worst of it was the fact that the frame rate was enough to cause headaches, with high motion blur included. After all, this was the first game to be made on the Hedgehog engine, as it was later refined. After a long while, the community began to see a new light and wanted to play this game on modern hardware. Xbox was able to do that with their backwards compatibility with the Xbox Series S and X, but on PS4 we had PS Now, which was not worth it at all. That's where Scythe and the Recompiled team come in to fix this issue. 1st of March 2025, we saw the release of Sonic Unleashed Recompiled, which allowed many changes while keeping the game original. We had resolution change, frame rates going higher than 144 FPS, the hourglass scenes as we could choose the Xbox or PS3 edition, better shadow quality and wide screens for cutscenes, and the ability to take off the Werehog battle theme. Just a heads up, if you do play Unleashed Recompiled, be aware with higher frame rates as sometimes the game doesn't work as expected, just like this clip. Let's not forget the fact that we had so many mods. Am I right, Miku?
Nope.
Dang.
Oh well.
But speaking of the mods, we also have beta stage mods, lighting mods, cyberspace mods, and so many more to cover that I can't do in this video. This video has been going on long enough already, so let me get to the conclusion. I want to end this video by saying Sonic Unleashed is my favourite game of all time. The joy that I had as a 5-year-old kid when I played this game for the first time can never be recreated, but you know damn well I still think about this game every day. I was praying for a remaster for this game for so long, but when I saw the Recompiled project on Twitter, I actually started crying. I'll admit, as I'm not afraid to say how much this game has helped me as a kid during my hospital visits every 2 weeks, just thinking about... Oh, for fuck's sake, I'm crying in the YouTube video. Oh, for fuck's sake. I'll admit, as I'm not afraid to say how much this game has helped me as a kid during my hospital visits every 2 weeks, just thinking about the inevitable death that was coming my way. But I'll never let that ruin my childhood. Glory to God as I'm good now, but as a kid you'll never understand what the fear of death feels like. After I recovered, I would always run back home from school. The first thing I would do is turn on my PS2 just to play this game. I remember I originally asked my uncle to buy me the new Sonic game, but when he came home and bought me Sonic Unleashed, I was confused as I didn't have Wi-Fi as I was stuck in the hospital, but man, I will always be grateful for the gift I received. But when I found out that the PS3 version was a completely different game, I used my lunch money to buy the HD version. This game isn't just a game to me, it's my life. You don't understand how many times I've completed this game, the speedruns I used to do. Everything about this game was pure perfection, and no game has been able to scratch that itch of dopamine within me. Sonic Team have been doing so well lately, and I'm so glad to see this change after we were stuck with garbage release with no budgets. Seeing Frontiers doing as well as it is, as much as it has its own issues, it would always be a good game. Same for Shadows Generations and all the movies that came along with it. But back to Sonic Unleashed. You know how much this game means to me? Well, you're watching it right now, my first ever YouTube video. That's how much this game has had an impact on me. So I just want to finish this video with a few lyrics.
But how will I know when I get there? And how will I know when to leave? We've all gotta start from somewhere, and it's right there for me. The possibilities are never ending.
So Sega, never stop working on Sonic games in the future. You guys may fail sometimes, and you'll definitely succeed at the times that you try. Because like you guys said in the main theme, the possibilities are never ending. It's Kimchi, and I love you guys.